So, how easy it is to move to New Zealand really depends on your personal situation. So, if you want to move on a more of a long-term basis rather than just to visit, there are three main routes in. One is through family, one is through investment, and one is through having a skilled job offer. So, with family, if you have a partner who's a New Zealand citizen or resident and you're living together, you have a route in that way. If you have a significant amount of money to invest in New Zealand, there's another potential route. But otherwise, you'll generally need to have a job offer in a skilled role to have a pathway for residence in New Zealand. And how easy that is really depends on the occupation you work in, whether you get a job offer, and particularly if your job is in a role that's on the green list. So the green list is a list of in-demand roles in New Zealand that the government has pulled together. I think there's over 160 roles on the green list at the moment, and it's split into two tiers. So tier one are the highest demand roles. That covers roles in healthcare, IT, engineering, teaching, to name a few. And if you're in tier one of the green list, you are eligible for a straight to residence pathway, which is a streamlined route to get residence in New Zealand. Tier two of the green list, the roles are also in demand, but maybe not quite so high a demand. And this offers a different pathway. The roles are generally more of the trades roles like plumbers, electricians, motor mechanics, and some other teaching roles like early childhood teachers. And for a work to residence visa, which is what you get from tier two of the green list, you need to go out on a work visa first, an accredited employer work visa, work for 2 years in New Zealand, and then you're able to apply for residence. If you're working in an occupation on the tier one straight to residence pathway, you have the fastest route to residence of pretty much all the visas. So it's a great position to be in if you have a job offer in that role. So for example, if you are a GP and you get a job offer in New Zealand, then as long as your job offer meets the characteristics of the visa and you meet the requirements of the green list, then you have that pathway in. So typically, you may need to get occupational registration for your role. So for a GP, it would be with the Medical Council of New Zealand, or you might have to meet the threshold through your qualifications or through a particular salary requirement. So there are a number of things that are specified about how you can meet the characteristics of tier one of the green list. And when you're on tier one of the green list, the processing times are really fast. So typically the average time is 2 months for a green list straight to residence visa to be processed, but sometimes they come through as quickly as 2 weeks. So the tier two work to residence pathway, again, relies on you getting a job offer first. So you need to have a job offer in a tier two occupation, and you need to meet the requirements that are specified in the green list under tier two. So if you meet those requirements and you have the job offer, then you can apply for the visa, assuming you meet all the other requirements as well. And in this instance, you would apply for a work visa first. So you apply for a work visa and you go out to New Zealand on that work visa, meeting the requirements of the green list. You work for 2 years in that role on your work visa. And when those 2 years are up, you can apply for something called a work to residence visa. So it's really in 2 stages. You go out on your work visa first, and as long as you keep meeting the requirements over the 2-year period, you can then apply for your work to residence visa. So when you're going out to New Zealand on a skilled resident visa, so in this example, the straight to residence visa, yes, you can take your partner and dependent children with you. So the rules for taking a partner are that you need to be in a genuine and stable relationship, and you need to have been living together for at least 12 months and provide significant evidence of your partnership. Dependent children can also be included in your application. For residents, the upper age limit for this is 24. However, if you have got an older dependent child, you do need to meet some other criteria for them to be included. They need to be single, they can't have children, and they need to be substantially financially dependent on you. But when you take your partner and dependent children with you, they get the same rights as you as a resident. So, for example, your partner can work or study in New Zealand, your children can go to school or university, and they'll be treated as domestic students. So the straight to residence visa is a resident visa rather than a permanent resident visa. So it's an indefinite visa as long as you stay in New Zealand. So effectively, it comes with travel conditions for 2 years. And for 2 years, you can travel in and out of New Zealand for as much as you like. After the 2 years, you can apply for permanent residence as long as you've shown commitment to New Zealand. Typically, that's just by being present in New Zealand for roughly 50% of your time or more. And then you can apply for a permanent resident visa, which lifts these travel conditions. So besides having a job offer, there are a number of requirements you need to meet to get a straight to residence visa. You need to be aged 55 or under. You need to meet health and character requirements for residents. And you need to have a certain level of proficiency in English language and be able to prove this. This might be through being a citizen, say, of the UK and having your education and work in that country, or it may mean that you need to take an English language test. And also the job offer needs to meet certain requirements. So it has to be in tier 1 of the green list. It has to be for a full-time role. You need to be paid at least the New Zealand median wage, and it needs to be from an accredited employer. And you yourself will need to meet the requirements of the green list. So whatever is specified as the requirement, you need to be able to demonstrate this in your application. So for a straight to residence visa, you will need a number of different documents. They include identity documents, so your passport and birth certificates. You'll also need to provide evidence of your medical and provide police certificates with your application. You'll need to provide evidence of your English language proficiency. And you'll also need to provide evidence of your relationship with anyone else included in the application. So your relationship to your partner and your dependent children. And with your partner, you will actually have to provide significant documentation about your relationship to prove that it's a genuine relationship and you are actually living together and have been for the required amount of time. The main advantages of the straight to residence visa over other visa pathways is that it really is a streamlined route to get residence in New Zealand. It's been designed to get the people that New Zealand need over there in the quickest possible time. So speed is one of the main advantages. It can take as little as 2 weeks. It averages 2 months at the moment. It can take a little bit more dependent on your application. And it also means that as well as being fast, you skip out having to apply for temporary visas. You can apply for residence straight out from overseas. And what this means is that, well, one, it saves you time. You don't have to work in New Zealand for a number of years before you become a resident. It also saves you money. You don't have to pay out on temporary visas for you and all of your family before becoming a resident. And it also gives you the security. So a lot of people are reluctant to leave their home country and uproot everyone if they don't know that the move is going to be permanent. So with this, you can be assured that you've got resident visas for the whole of the family before you even leave your home country. The average processing time is currently 2 months, but it can be as quick as 2 weeks, and some applications may take a bit longer, say up to about 4 months. So uprooting your life and moving to New Zealand is a big commitment for anyone, and particularly if you're taking family with you, it's something you don't really want to get wrong. And if you've got an employer who definitely needs you to be out there because you're on tier 1 of the green list and they're waiting for you to start, you want to be able to move out there in the fastest possible timeline and not risk losing that job offer that you've received. So by working with an immigration advisor such as myself, first up, I can check that your job offer does actually meet the requirements of the green list, and also that your skills or work experience or registration also complies with the requirements of the green list, so that you know that you are on that pathway. When I assess your eligibility, I also highlight any other potential stumbling blocks along the way, be this with your health, with your character, something to do with your relationship, or anything else I noticed during the process. And then together we work out a plan to navigate this, and I'll advise you the best way to take things forward in order to make a smooth application. I'd work with you to pull together all your documents. I'd provide you a comprehensive document checklist of everything you need to pull together and where you can go and get these documents. And then I would also work with you on your family documentation to make sure that they're covered off too. And then once you've pulled everything together, I would write your application on your behalf and a cover letter, which would be your case for why you should get a visa addressed to Immigration New Zealand, and liaise with them on your behalf so you don't have to.